Hello YouTubers. Well, death and bereavement, what a somber subject that would appear to be, but it's something that's been rattling about in my mind for some time, and I've been putting it off and putting it off, and you've been telling me about your lives and your problems and worries, and because I'm a granddad, you've been talking about your relationships with your grandparents and parents, and so I thought it's something I should talk about. And whilst obviously, oh goodness me, I'm not a psychologist or a counsellor, and I don't know what wise words I could offer, but I thought perhaps if I told you perhaps about a couple of the deaths that I've been involved with, that I might be able to recall some of my thoughts, and they might be similar thoughts that you have had. Well, of course, being old, as I said, lots of my relations and contacts and friends have died, but I suppose, like most people, the nearer and dearer they are, the more they affect you. And of course, I remember my mother when she died, and she was a very old lady. She died when she was 88, so I, of course, I was in late middle age at that time, and she was only bedridden for a couple of weeks, and my wife and I went over with other people to nurse her, for want of a better word. And even at that age I was so scared about the whole situation, because it's just something I hadn't done. So it doesn't matter what age you are, you still have all these worries and doubts and things, but in the event, of course, it was quite peaceful, and I think you can be assured that near to a person's end that they will be under medication, and they will be tired, calm and sedated, and probably very, very sleepy. And the moment when the body shuts down and they have died is really not as bad as you might think. It can become quite a beautiful moment in some respects, in that you realise that they have no more worries, and everything is calm and peaceful. And of course, it's after that time that you are sad. Whether you're sad for yourself, I don't know what it is really, but somebody said to me, and it was quite comforting to know, because you feel empty and hollow. And somebody said, when your parents die, you realise there is nobody left who thinks you can do no wrong. And that's a very that's a very lonely feeling, no matter what age you are. But when it is somebody of an old age, life must end, and all you can hope is that their end will be peaceful, which I would like to think it always is. You might have guilt that you think you should have done this or you should have done that, or but I think you must have to dismiss those thoughts. None of us can do everything we think is right, and that isn't something that you should be concerned with, I don't think. The other death, of course, that I witnessed was, of course, of my wife, which was a little bit different in that she was ill for a lot longer time, and that was quite scary, looking after her on my own in this rather isolated place, and not knowing what to do in the middle of the night when attention was needed all the time. But I suppose one feels that, well, it's a sort of, not a sort of love, it is love that you're able to give back to somebody. everything that they have given to you in the past. And when her moment came to die, we were actually holding hands, and she couldn't speak at that time. But I felt that communication, we knew what was passing between us, shall I say, and her moment of death was the same as I had seen with my mother, and it was very, very peaceful and a similar experience. How long you grieve for somebody will vary, of course, with the different circumstances of the person and the death, and how long and what form that might take, again, will vary between person to person, and it is just something that has to happen. But there does have to be a grieving process, I think, whatever form it takes. But it's an old cliche that says it will get better with time. You don't believe it at the time, but it does, of course. And now my memories of my wife are just happy memories of our life together. And I haven't changed anything in this house, and I just feel her presence is still around. And so they were my thoughts and my occasions. And strangely enough, I don't know whether it was part of the grieving process or not, but I was looking for some stories to put up on my website to just add some content to it, and I came across a couple that I had written, which were fictional stories about what were they? One was they were both boys, actually, I suppose, because I write about boys, because I can relate to what they might be thinking. One was a story about a boy whose grandmother, who he didn't really have much relationship with, didn't really like, and how he found out more things about her and himself when he came across letters and things in a cupboard somewhere. And the other one was about a young boy who was very close to his granddad, who was very angry about the situation, and that was a little story. And I realized then that I had written those shortly after my wife died, but I wasn't thinking about the situation. But I wonder if perhaps that was part of the way I dealt with my grieving process. But that's all I can think to say, and it's gone on a long time, and so I'll close it there, and I definitely will think of something more cheerful to tell you about next time, and so until then, as usual, goodbye.